Morning, this is the Park County Commission regular meeting for Tuesday, June 14th at 9 a.m. We have no public hearings this morning, no scheduled public comment. Is there any public comment for items that are not on our agenda today? Please, Ms. Hollowell.
Ann Hollowell, Western Creek. Last Tuesday in your commission meeting, you spoke of the comments you received on the insubstantial legal notifications that the county put out to notify the public of the upcoming hearings on zoning. The planner in last month's county planning meeting stated that he expected those for and against zoning would be getting the news out across the county. I stepped up and started posting signs with the hearing dates, times, and locations. One day later, I find my signs are apparently being ripped down by the County Public Works Department. Can Mr. Whitman please verify that for me? Otherwise, this is a case of vandalism. I put a call into Mr. Whitman at Public Works on Monday morning when I heard that the signs were disappearing. I had to leave a message. I asked him to please contact me if any signs were inappropriately posted. If so, I would change their location, but please not to throw them away, as they represented both a source of information for county residents and a financial investment to that end. I did check the sign zoning regulation before posting my signs. The regulation says all signs 24 square feet or less are allowed for 60 days. It seems extraordinary that on a day like yesterday, when the Yellowstone reached 100-year flood levels, not seen since 1918, Route 89 South had closures due to mudslide and several bridges were impassable from flooding and tree debris. Our county thinks taking down informational signs that benefit all county residents is their highest priority. It certainly gives the impression that you don't want the citizens to know or be involved in this important public hearing process that will allow you to adopt zoning countywide. If this is a case of vandalism, I apologize for pointing a finger at the Public Works Department. It would be good to clear this up. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hollowell. For some public comment.
Myron Kowash, Level Drive. I really think this meeting should just be postponed totally on the planning and zoning stuff. There's a lot of public things that you guys should be attending to and taking care of. That emergencies have been going out throughout the county. This is a waste of your time and the public's resources to have you guys sit here for a meeting that should not be held at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Kovash. Additional public comment. Public comment? Okay, let's go to action items. Discussion decision on planning board recommendation to update the 2017 Park County growth policy. Michael, are you on the phone today?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
We can. Good morning.
Morning. So the planning board made a recommendation to the county commissioners to update the 2017 growth policy. Per statute in our growth policy itself, we're required to review it at the end of a 5-year period and determine whether or not the policy needs to be updated and to what extent. The board met for several months to talk about various aspects of the growth policy and ultimately determined that, or made a recommendation for the county commissioners to update the entire policy. They also discussed the relevance of the goals and objectives in the policy as it stands now, and the applicability that they still have given everything that's going on in Park County. So in terms of a comprehensive update, if the commission does determine that you would like to pursue that, I think from a staff's perspective, it's going to take a lot to get this done. First of all, we're going to have to seek funding in order to achieve it. We do have some funding available through Community Development Block Grant, which is a fund that we used the last time we updated it. But we would have to wait till that cycle forward, probably next spring, with award next summer or even into the fall. I also know that participating with the Montana Association of Planners Board of Directors, we know that there are working groups that are dealing with zoning, subdivision plating act, growth policy statutes. And the growth policy statutes, we expect and anticipate that there'll be new laws presented at the next session that would impact those statutes. So from a staff's perspective, it would also probably be prudent for us to wait until after that, the next session, which times with the funding limitations that we have. I also think that the goals and objectives that we have are still applicable. I think that the commission should consider, directing the board to continue to work within the confines of the goals and objectives that we currently have. There's a lot of work that's been done, but then there's also a lot of work to continue. So if you guys do determine that you want to move forward with a comprehensive update, what I can do is work with Kristen and I can put together a better timing kind of proposal that we can anticipate and start to prepare for. The community development block grant, just so you guys are aware, would not cover the entirety of a comprehensive growth policy update. We would have to either cover the additional cost or come up with additional funding. So I can put something together that looks at the timing. I can put something together that looks at the potential funding and get that to you guys for further consideration as we move forward. But if you do a comprehensive update, I would recommend that you still allow the board and county to work under the goals and objectives that are in the current growth policy, because I think they're still applicable. I do think that a comprehensive update is warranted given changes in demographics and socioeconomic data. A lot of the information in the growth policy was derived from the 2010 census. We did have some updated information from the 2013-2014 Park County Atlas project, but not, we didn't have any updated census data. And as we know, a lot has changed in those 10 years. So I think it would be prudent to move forward with a comprehensive update, but I also recognize that there's going to be limitations and it's not going to happen right away. If you guys have any questions for me, let me know. I will say that, we've received a lot of public comment speaking to the legality of your ability to move this forward. Some people think that you're in violation of Montana code and our current growth policy because the planning board has not sent you a memo. I spoke with Karen Alley with our Mako attorney and asked her if the board conducting a public meeting and making a determination if the minutes would suffice as in terms of information for you guys to consider. And she said that would suffice. So if you want the board to write you a specific memo outlining the decision that they made, I can ask the chairman to do that. He's willing to do that. But the meeting minutes have been posted and have been available for the commissioners to review. So the decision kind of speaks for itself. Let me know if you have questions.
Okay, thanks, Mike. Public comment on this agenda. Go ahead.
Yes, one thing I want to state that I'm totally against is planning agricultural preservation zoning district.
I'm sorry, that's not what we're talking about. I'm talking about the growth policy.
What's that?
We're talking about the growth policy, not the preservation zoning district. So that's not on our agenda today.
Well, I don't think the growth policy should be stated off of old data of 2010. And you guys are required by 5 years to have it done. It's past 5 years, so you need to start all over.
Go ahead. Additional public comment.
I ditto the same comment, because if you're basing your facts on old data, and it's way overdue to have current data to base your facts to make a current established plan.
Okay, thank you. Can I have your name just?
Lana Sheen.
Lana Sheen. Thank you, man. Additional public comment, please.
Deb Kovash. I too feel that we have to have current data to make a policy that's valid. You can't work on 2010 when we're in 2022, and more than likely the policy's not going to be done until 2023.
Mhm. Okay.
That's 13 years of data that you don't have.
Thank you, Ms. Kovacs. Additional public comment. Commission discussion.
Mr. Chair, just looking at the costs and issues with this, I would recommend that we postpone the growth policy update till after the legislative session is complete. That would be my motion.
Okay. Mr. Berg, are you on the line today?
I am. Can you hear me?
We can.
Yeah,
Any
that
thoughts?
makes sense to me. That makes sense to me as well. The landscape has changed a good bit in just the last 2 years, much less the last 13. And we have a lot of passionate participation here recently, and I think this would give us an opportunity to take all that into account, as well as anticipated upcoming legislative changes.
Yeah, I agree that there have been a lot of changes in the county, and the need to work off current data is certainly compelling. Mike, as far as postponing till the conclusion of the legislative session, how does that align with our CDBG grant application deadline?
That actually probably times out pretty good. I'll have to talk to Kristen. I don't know. I know we have community development block grant funding under use right now, and so we can only have one of those open at a time. So I'll have to find out when the current project close, and then if we'd be available for seeking funding. You guys would have to kind of make a decision. Usually with community development block grant funds, it's competitive. Like we have different projects in the county that could utilize those funds. So if you guys put the growth policy as kind of priority, then we would be looking at next spring as an application timeframe, and then the award usually occurs in the summer, fall. And even if we follow that trajectory, then we're looking at probably submitting a request for qualifications, going through the process of selecting a firm to help us out, and then establishing the formal process, similar to what we did for the 2017 growth policy, where we outlined a pretty comprehensive process. So I think it times out pretty well. We should know going into the next session anticipated modifications to statute, and then we'll be able to adapt to those requirements going into that summer and spring, or summer and fall.
Okay. Thanks, Mike. Ms. Chenzy, would you mind repeating your motion just so we have it right?
I would move that we postpone the growth policy update till after the legislative session is complete next year.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Discussion. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
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 Motion passes. Thanks, Mike. Thanks for your comments.
Thank you.
Okay, discussion decision on appointing Chad Glenn as the Chief Deputy Attorney effective immediately. This is an item that was postponed from a couple of sessions.
Yeah,
Kendra?
Commissioner Caldwell, our request is based on the fact that Shannon Piccolo, our previous Chief Deputy County Attorney, has accepted another position. And so we're intending to fill that position with Chad Glenn, who is currently a Deputy County Attorney with our office, and have him move into that role.
Great. And you would have the language on this was as it was originally stated before it's postponed, so it does effective immediately. You have a effective date in mind.
I would have the effective date, and I'm sorry I don't have it with me right now, but it would be on the day after Ms. Piccolo, her term was over. I'd like to have it retroactive until that day.
Okay, and we can confirm that with Human Resources.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks. Public comment on this agenda. Commission discussion.
Mr. Chair,
Chair, I move it. Go
Go
ahead,
ahead.
Glenn.
that's hard.
Mr. Berg, I'll leave it to you.
Mr. Chair, I move that we appoint Chad Glenn as Chief Deputy Attorney at the date just described.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
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 Motion passes. Right. See, we have an existing job description, so we don't need to repeat that.
We do. Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for coming on, Jen.
Thank you. Discussion decision on MOU with MSU Park County Extension and Park County Environmental Council to support PCEC Landscape Conservation Specialist and the CWMA noxious weed monitoring work. Who'd like to present this? Marianne, are you on this morning? Okay, I think this is something we looked at last week or week before, and it was a question of whether there was need for legal review. It apparently was.
I believe they were waiting for Deb to review that.
Okay, is that, Kendra, you know if that's still the case?
I believe that that is the case, but I think that, he has, and I believe that it's acceptable, but I'll wait for her to give you a determination or give it to me.
Okay, so we may need to postpone this another week.
Yeah.
Okay. Public comment on this agenda item now that we're here? Commission discussion. So we'll be looking at the 21st.
Mr. Chair, I move that we postpone this decision till the 21st.
I second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Motion
Aye.
passed. All right, discussion decision to appoint Neil Travis as acting public administrator. This position has been vacant for some time. And, I spoke with Mr. Travis last week, and he is willing and able to fulfill that role. We're lucky to have him. Public comment on this agenda. Commission discussion.
I think Neil Travis would be an excellent position.
Is that a motion?
I can't wait. I can't wait to meet him. Mr. Chair, I move that we appoint Neil Travis as acting public administrator.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
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 Motion passes. Discussion decision on a resolution to update the Part 1 petition requirements and review process, Section 76-2-101 MCA. Mike, still on the line?
Yep, I'm here, but I think this will be either Maritza or Deb Pratt's item.
Okay, and neither of them is in the room. But I
Maritza's
will-
on the line, I believe.
Maritza, are you on the line?
Yeah, I'm on the phone and we would like to request to postpone this until the 21st.
Okay, because I think we're still pending drafting from legal and from the clerk recorder's office. Public
Correct.
comment on this agenda? Please.
Deb Kobosh, looking at what's been out there proposed right now, I have numerous questions on this. Why do you have to have a registered land survey here? Why cannot you use commonly known roads to define the area? That's a huge cost to people to hire a land surveyor when you can most likely use road areas to define your zoning area.
Well, we're still in the process of drafting the procedures. And what we're going to do is try to make it, the application as complete as possible for our office to process it. But like I said, it's still in the draft process. And if we do get it done this week, it'll be on the agenda by Friday.
And I would note too that the requirements that are listed in the attachment are those that are currently being redrafted. So what you may see there is not what's going to come back to us.
Okay, well, I'd like to comment on what we've
Certainly.
seen so far.
Absolutely. Please go ahead.
Also, item E, it says 3 sets of adhesive labels. You need to define the size. That's certainly easy to do. They have a requirement to accommodate a certified mailing form. Define your size. That's pretty easy to do. Item G is talking about a 10-digit tax identification number. What is that? Is that a business ID number? Is that a social security number? What is that?
It's a tax ID that's on your bill, on your tax bill, or you can find it on the treasurer's website. It's different than the geocode, but it identifies the parcel.
Okay, that needs to be more clearly defined. And then it also talks about incomplete applications, 90 days to get it remodified. I'm not sure 90 days is enough time if you have to go back out and re-get signatures. All those things.
Well, like I said, we're going to be working on this draft this week, and it will be posted by Friday on the commissioner's agenda, and we can discuss it next week.
And is there a red line of what this used to be versus what it's now proposed to be? It'd be nice to be able to see a red line version.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I can't quite hear on my phone.
Yeah, the request was for a red line version, just so we can see the changes versus the current version. I would agree
Okay,
with that.
sure, that's fine. We can do that.
I think it'd be helpful for us as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kohler. Mr. Kovacs.
Yes, you're saying you want to review this on the 17th, but you're gonna have this finalized when?
Sorry, it'd be on the 21st.
On the 21st, but you'll have it finalized when?
It would be on the website as an attachment on the 17th, which is when the agenda is posted.
I think you need another probably week or so after, or some time after that, for legal people to be able to go over it and look at this. You aren't gonna get legal representative people to be able to get that done in that time.
Okay, thank you. Additional public comment? Please, Ms. Oliver.
And Hollowell, this is probably being worked on, as you say,
It is.
but I was just going to point out that you have defined the word development pattern in one case as a map and in another spot on here as a regulation. So I'm hopeful that they'll go back to the original, whatever it was, 762104, where it explains that a development pattern also is not only physical, but an economic development of the planning and zoning district. So I hope they'll be more thorough about that. And also it would be probably easy for folks if you put a definition, maybe a definition, bunch of definitions, so you can read this and be on the same page at the same time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Hollowell. For those who are not speaking quite so loudly, you may not be picked up on the recording, but I know that the county attorney is making notes, so she has recorded your comments. Additional public comment? Commission discussion. So we're looking to postpone until the 21st, right?
Yes, I'll make that motion.
Your second?
I second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
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 We'll take up the new version, new and improved, next Tuesday. Thanks for your comments. Discussion decision on Jones Mini Storage Development Phase 2 buildings for lease or rent application. Mike?
Good morning. So this should be pretty familiar to you guys. Sean and Bobby Joe Jones did submit a buildings for lease or rent several years ago, an application for some mini storage units in the Clyde Park area. At that time, they went to review by DEQ. It was reviewed by the Public Works Department, the Sheriff's Department, and Greg Coleman for Emergency Services and Access. And so that all checked out, and this is the second phase. So they had 3 buildings reviewed at that time, and the remaining now are being proposed. So the access is the same, the drainage and the DEQ storm drainage analysis is the same. So this would just be the additional buildings to be included on the same property. I did send this to Brad Bickler, our sheriff, as well as Matt Whitman and Greg Coleman, and nobody had any concerns or specific comments relative to your discussion and decision today.
Thanks, Mike. Public comment on this agenda. Commission discussion. This meets all the requirements and all the sign-offs.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the Jones Mini Storage Development Phase 2 buildings for lease or rent application.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Discussion. All in favor, aye.
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 Motion passes. Thanks, Mike. Discussion decision on copier leases for county complex and accounting. Morning, Erica.
Hi there. So, we have had the discussion during the budget workshop, just about the fact that the copier downstairs, and I think Erica from looked like she was on one time, is at the end of its lease and it's a real workhorse in terms of copies, so it needs to be replaced. And then the copier in the accounting office, we were able to use the clerk of quarters for the last year and a half, but the fan on it is breaking and that piece is not replaceable. And so we're sort of battling the copier on a daily basis. We haven't had a copier lease in accounting since I've been here. So we appreciate your consideration for us to get a copier.
Okay.
And on the attachment or the cost, I'm sorry, I don't have them in front of me. But it's like $75 a month for mine and a little over $100 a month for the copier downstairs. And we typically lease the equipment and we get service with that and replacement toner and all those pieces. And we've been really happy with the service from Fisher Technologies, which is why we elected to go with them, and they are Canon copiers, which hold up well, and all the bells and whistles are on the downstairs copier, and our copier is just pretty straightforward copier with no extra features. Just
Okay.
copy.
And the costs are covered primarily in next year's budget.
Yes, after
And
July
yours
1st.
following. Yes.
Yes,
Thanks, Erica.
thank you.
Public comment on this agenda. Motion discussion.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the copier leases for county complex and accounting.
I second.
Second discussion.
You don't want stars?
I've heard yours has issues.
I think it's dead.
It would have
It
issues
could
if
die.
it ran at all.
Well, we have extended the offer to Carly to be able to hook into our printer and use
Thank
it
you
at
for that.
will.
That is awesome.
Yes.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, aye.
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 Motion passes. Discussion decision on job description for short-term administrative assistant position for county attorney office to assist with document management projects. Yeah.
For the record, Kendall Astor, county attorney. What we are looking at is, as you know, most of our archive files are stored in vault downstairs, which is a optimistic term for that space, but we are looking to digitize. We're probably behind the ball on that. We thought the most cost-effective way to accomplish that would be to hire someone for the summer as an intern-like position, just to come in and simply scan in documents, because that is going to need to happen. And like I said, we're probably behind the ball on that, but if we could hire someone for that limited purpose for the summer, that would go a long way toward making a dent in that project without detracting from what our support staff is tasked with daily.
Okay. And this is something we would consider with the budget for next year.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ken. Public comment on this agenda.
Do you have a time estimate?
When we would bring them in,
Or just how long they would be here? I
How
think it's
long they
90
would
day
be
maximum.
here?
yeah, it would be like a 90-day. What I'm kind of envisioning is that we could get like the high school student. It's not a technical position, just someone who could come in and over the summer, basically, like it would be a summer vacation job is kind of what I'm thinking for a school thing. But yeah, 90 days would be appropriate.
Additional public comment. Commission discussion.
Mr. Chair, I would move that we approve the job description for a short-term administrative assistant position for county attorney's office.
I'll second.
Moved in second. Discussion. Yeah, we've undertaken
I would
similar.
think it could be a
Yeah.
could be a good
Similar
fit for the right person.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry for the lag. Yeah, we've had similar projects in the past for the clerk of courts office and planning and clerk of court as well. So slowly but surely we're getting there. All in favor aye?
Aye.
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 Motion passes. Okay, no county board recommendations today. County department updates. Erica, do you want to go first?
Sure, we're having a budget workshop this morning. The schedule is definitely in flux this year. So we're trying to get people in, but we've just had various interruptions. Most of the budget data has actually been entered in the system. I updated the COLAs in the system for what was approved the last week or two. So that's all updated. It's really just a matter of pulling everyone together at the same time. So I do have two scheduled today. We'll have to see. We may need to cancel the 1 o'clock just for people's availability. We do have 3 meetings scheduled for next week. We might have to add another one in and just try to get through it. And we can put out the preliminary budget schedule I have is still on schedule. It usually comes out around mid-July, and that will be available to the public. And then we keep it going till the final budget's adopted in September.
Okay.
That's where we're at.
Okay. Yeah, I know we've had difficulty getting staff together for one reason or another. It's
And then we have a flood.
well,
So
maybe we should provide food or something.
right.
I know it's
Well,
it's
I think if
impossible
we
to
could
hurt.
get the commissioners to show up, we'd be in really good shape.
Well, I've been to all of them. You know,
At the same, well, it's a coordination between, one thing and another.
I'm not kidding about the food. I mean, you can't herd cats, but sometimes you can move their food.
I
Well, we'll
can see if
take-
it's in our budget.
We'll be flexible, but yeah, we'll definitely be here at 10 and one you say is up in the air.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll see if I can get some people, but the general fund, we really want to present in a single day. So we
Right.
really need 2 meetings to be able to do it because you want to come out with a cohesive picture.
Mhm.
And it doesn't make sense to break that particular section up.
Agree. If you're looking holistically at the whole fund, it's a big one.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Thanks, Eric. Mark?
Yeah, so working with Erica on budget for the museum for the coming year. Give a Hoot's coming up, so working with the friends to get single place for that. As can be expected, I guess we've had some calls from groups who have done education programs in the park starting yesterday with students from all over the country who came to do programming down in the park and are now not doing that programming down in the park. So we are going to be doing programs for quite a few organizations and groups of students at the museum this week. That said, we're also limited for staff because some of our staff can't make it in due to the flood and housing issues. So it's just me. So please be understanding if you need to get a hold of me this week. Might not be available. We also, I guess we were lucky when it came to it. The museum was spared the worst of last night. However, we do have offsite storage that I guess had about 5 feet of water in it. So as soon as it's safe, I will be making some time to go see what our offsite storage for those collections look like. Not good, but better than it could have been. So.
We'll look forward to hearing the report.
Sorry, could I jump in for a second?
Sure.
Okay, just to talk about the flooding for a minute. So we've been having the meetings, and I'm a chief finance officer, so I just wanted to see if you have any concerns about costs and things like that. I mean, we're in sort of a recovery phase of trying to get people out, so I don't think we can limit necessarily what our costs are, but I just wanted to bring your awareness that we are gonna have costs. It could be significant because we have to get supplies down to Gardner and potentially Cook City and people in and out. So I have submitted distributed time cards for all the entities to be able to start tracking their time for FEMA because we've declared the disaster locally. The Montana DES group is here. That's the state group. And then we're also calling in a CAT team, which is a county assistant team from the state level. And so it'll be interesting to see. I don't know if they bring the finance perspective to that, but I'll be trying to check in with them, as well as worked with the road department to outline how we will look at tracking the projects, because FEMA tends to break them into different projects. So we're doing sort of by geographic area. So we have like Cook City, Gardner, Paradise Valley, which would include Emigrant, as well as the city, because the city is going to be doing time tracking too. And with the county, we want sort of like a cohesive picture. So just to bring that piece up.
Right. We did get a communication from the city last evening that they also had emergency declaration.
Yes.
So they're in the same mode as we are. So
Yes.
yeah, and we understand. I think all of our costs are going to be significant. So,
right, and we did do the 2 mil as part of the emergency declaration, which is required to by the county to be able to access more state and federal funding.
Right.
Hopefully we'll get the disaster declaration. I think we sort of qualified.
Yeah,
Derek.
5, maybe 6 bridges I think we've lost.
6 at least.
Yeah. Long haul. Lisa.
Human resources, we have some summer hires, which is nice out at the fairgrounds, and as you know, up at the museum with our interns up there and in the road department, so that's good. That's a bit of help. So that's nice, and then with the new position in the attorney's office, and congratulations to Chad. That's good for him to become the chief deputy.
Great. Glad to have him. I'm not sure who else is online. We've got.
This is Mike. Can you guys hear me? Hello? I can't hear anybody if the commissioners are still on.
Mike, this is
Mike,
Carrie
I
Kale.
can-
I lost the commissioners, is what it looks like from my computer. Their little dial is spinning.
That's what it looks like to me too, Mike.
Okay, I'll hold off for a sec.
I'll text.
For public comment.
It just came back up.
Oh, okay.
It was just like a minute.
All right. Hope you're making good notes. All right. I would ask for public comment for the above projects, but we didn't have any information on them. So,
Hey, Steve, I've got an update if you got a
okay,
second.
go ahead.
Sorry, we lost you there for a sec. So for planning, we have a board training scheduled for this Thursday as well as a board meeting. I may have to cancel that. I'm going to reach out to John Heike. I don't know that everybody's going to be able to make it here. And I don't know what that looks like in terms of the public's ability to participate depending upon where they're at in the county. So I'll keep you posted. I've already talked to Karen Alley. She's able to postpone until July. So we may just do that given the circumstances that we're dealing with. And then just to let you know, I got Lawson here. He's going to provide an update on floodplain issues that we're now going to be dealing with. So yeah, here's Lawson.
Yeah, so I've been in contact with DNRC yesterday and this morning. We do have quite a bit of responsibility in the county, kind of post-event with damage assessment and a host of other things. Probably going to have to bring in some additional resources. So I'm working with them. I'll have to assess what we're going to need from state. But we're going to be very busy kind of rest of the summer dealing with floodplains. So that will definitely affect our capacity. I've been talking to Ashley as well. She's willing to help us out with that. It's going to be a big summer for us.
It is. Yeah, thanks for the update. And I know that our road guys are out. We'll be getting the damage inventory from them when they know what we have damaged. Part of that is just trying to figure out what's going on. So, a lot of it's underwater, and so a lot of the conditions of the roads is unknown at this point. So we'll know what we know when we know it.
Right. Yeah, we'll put together. We'll be meeting with some folks here, hopefully sooner than later, and kind of put together a more comprehensive list of our responsibilities, and then get that to the commission. It may impact our ability to do other work because this will become a pretty significant priority for us. And unfortunately, when an event like this occurs in your community, it's up to the floodplain administration to do the heavy lifting on a lot of it. And we still don't know how many houses and structures were damaged or flooded. So it's going to be a lot of work. We'll get back to you guys probably in the next week or two with a better idea of what this is going to look like for our department.
Yeah, and a lot of those duties are mandated by our participation in the National Flood Insurance Program. So I'll provide a better update once we know a little more.
Okay, thanks, guys. All right. I spoke with Carla yesterday. I think there's some edits I want to make to those before we consider if that's okay with the other commissioners.
Sure.
Okay. Consent items, daily correspondence, public comments. Mr. Tinsley.
Mr. Chair, there's a lot going on, and I sure feel for the people getting flooded this yesterday and today. Did a ride around. I know you did too. A lot of places are still underwater, even though we hit our peak. I think we're still at above flood stage in many areas. The golf course, we changed the name to a river run through it today because there's a lot of water traps there right now. The other thing, been thinking a lot about this, and last week really hit me hard. The poster on the fence at the green box side about zoning and information was really, to me, a slap in my face. I really think this commission has done a great deal to build trust in the community, and I think we got slapped down pretty hard last week. And so I would like to make a motion to put on the agenda for next week to shelf the zoning policy completely. That's my comment.
Okay. So we can't do that as a formal motion, but Mr. Berg, what do you think about that just as a matter of process?
Can you hear me?
We can. Yeah, go ahead. Did you catch all of that?
I did. Yeah. I think that there's some wisdom to that. I think that it's a mistake to assume that the existing economic, regulatory, and cultural norms that guide development in Park County are the best we can do. But I also don't feel that this draft has hit the mark, and I think there's many reasons for that. And we can point all the fingers we want. That may or may not be helpful. I certainly accept some responsibility for not stepping up and take a better leadership role in it. But nonetheless, it has inspired a lot of conversation and a lot of passionate participation from those who think it's too much and those who think it's too little. So I'd like to think that that could set the stage for future, more productive conversations and lead to some progress. That doesn't mean in my mind that we should stop working towards evolving with the times, because the times are changed in a lot of ways. We are trying to operate in the 21st century with a 20th century mindset and set of rules. So yeah, I would go along with putting that on the agenda next week.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think that the circumstances that we are in now, from a variety of reasons, I guess, don't really support the kind of discussion that can really take place within the statutory process with its restrictions on discussion and engagement with the public. So I would definitely be in favor of putting this on the agenda next week. So I'll add it for discussion.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else to report?
That's it.
All right, Mr. Berg.
Yes. I'm sorry, I had a text. It's kind of hectic down here. If we're still in correspondence, I'll just share that it's been very busy down this way. I've been on the phone with MDOT a couple times this morning. County's working with them on clearing some mud from the road so we can better assess underlying conditions. Got a meeting with the community of Gardner. Sheriff Bickler will be there with the deputy, pulled in the Forest Service, the Park Service, and other key players. And we're still taking stock down here, but the river level has gone down significantly since yesterday. If it was the day before yesterday, we would still say it's alarmingly high, but it actually, we've got a little bit of relief here right now to take stock and figure out next steps.
Great.
That's it from me.
Okay. I don't have a lot to add. We did have the communication from Tim Miller in terms of process concerns related to consideration of the growth policy. That we seem to have addressed those in a satisfactory way, at least from the Mako attorney's opinion. We had our communication from Kent Atwood suggestion that we permanently evacuate 9th Street Island. I'm not sure that we can actually do that on a permanent basis, but I'm not sure what's going to be left of the island to evacuate. So that's a situation in flux as well, not using the word flux mildly. So, I just see that I had a phone call from the governor. I'll return that as soon as we get through their meeting. Probably just checking in, see what kind of resources we have in need. Also wanted to express my condolences, and I think our collective condolences to the family of Mike Carty's, who passed away, unfortunately, about a week and a half ago. And, I know the city staff are going through some difficult times, and he will be missed by all of you. That's all I have. Any additional comments, Mr. Kinsley?
No.
Mr. Berg?
I'll just throw in that we have a department head meeting scheduled for 10 tomorrow. I expect I'll be participating remotely, and let's just keep in touch and see if it still seems like we can pull that off. I should be at a Mako Board of Directors meeting in Helena on June 28th. So just a heads up to see if that will work out, given that that's a Tuesday meeting day. And also the Mako district meeting will be in Townsend on July 15th, and I plan to attend that. Let me know if either of you will so that we can notice it.
Okay. I don't plan to attend. Yeah. Okay. So it looks like neither of us plans to attend, so you're on your own.
Thanks.
All right. So, department head meeting tomorrow, tentatively at 10 o'clock. We do have safety also tentatively at 9 o'clock, depending on circumstances. We have a meeting with Josh Bolst at 1 o'clock to talk about Mako renewals and also cybersecurity premiums. Sounds like he's been doing some shopping for us. And have a library board meeting at 2 tomorrow. Meeting with the acting city manager on Thursday afternoon, talk about the AV project and compact. Just as far as process concerns, when things go to various decision bodies, and also transit board at 1. Plan DDD exec meeting next Wednesday at 2, but that's kind of far out there. So that's all I've got.
Mr. Chair, I move we adjourn.
I second.
Okay, moved and seconded. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned at 9.